Hi, Chinmay.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you for coming. So good to
That's
see
okay.
you.
Yes, indeed. It's been a while. Last time I think we were with Shumit, weren't we?
Yes, a couple of
Yeah,
months ago. Yes,
a couple of
with
months
Shumit.
ago. How are you
Absolutely.
doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
Wonderful.
I
Yes.
think you must be in the peak of the season right now.
Yes, yeah, we're getting there, but things will start to slow down. I think,
Of course. Yeah,
yeah, by mid-December or so. So we'll have a lull, but obviously it's busy in terms of people traveling too. So
of
I think
course. Exactly. So operations wise,
operationally, yeah, that's
yes,
the
yes.
bigger
Yeah,
challenge.
when they're traveling, they'll obviously contact your ops team saying, "Oh, this is a miss. That's not, someone didn't turn up on time." That's the
Hopefully
usual.
not, but yeah, that's always the risk.
Yes, but I know that you do work with the best DMCs around the world, so that's always an advantage.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's
You do
crucial to
work with
have good
co-artists, don't
support.
you, in
Yeah,
India
in India, yeah,
with
that's right.
Reith? Yeah,
That's right.
I worked with Reith actually for
Oh, you did.
yes,
Okay.
I back in 2018. Yeah,
Okay.
2018. Yeah, for a couple of
In what
years.
capacity?
I headed his marketing
Oh, I
at that
see.
time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, Reed has been around for such a long time. I mean,
Yes.
it's impossible to find people who actually
Yeah.
haven't worked with him. So,
Yeah, and he has so much knowledge. In fact, it was Reed who encouraged me to start my own company.
oh, I
So
see.
he's a mentor, and
Wow.
yeah. He in fact said that I went to him saying that, listen, I'm really I need more work, Reed. I just work 2 hours a day, and you're paying me so well. And he said, hey, this is all I can give you. This is the time you need to start on your own. I'll support you. I will refer you clients, and he referred me a ton of clients, and
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he's very kind. Reed is a
Oh, how nice. Yeah. No, so yeah, we've been working together for a long time. Yeah. Um, and yeah, he's been amazing. So yeah, very good
great.
to have that connection.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to officially welcome you to our career fair. Unfortunately, today I don't know if you know about this, but we had a serious outage on Zoom globally.
Oh, I
So
see. No, I wasn't aware. No.
thankfully, it just came back on about 30 minutes before
Okay.
your session. So,
Oh,
and we had
wow.
already sent out communication to all our students with another link. So
Right.
there was a bit of a struggle, but then it came back on. So I
Okay.
think students might probably join in a little later because there have been multiple
Right.
communications. But we are recording this, so we'll make it available to them
Okay.
even later if they're not
Okay.
able to join in. So I would like to
Sure.
officially.
I just texted
Yes,
in the group because I was not sure if people know now that it's working again. I just
thank
texted
you.
the group that it's working again, and then maybe some people might come. I hope.
Thank
Oh,
you,
that's
Amelia.
good. Okay. Okay. No, I mean, yeah, if you want to use another platform, then let me know. We
No,
we
no, we
normally
will continue
use
with this.
Google.
I think it's
Okay.
good. We'll continue.
Okay.
And I made you a co-host. You can share your screen if you want to anchor to a presentation, or you
No,
want.
no, I
Yeah,
don't actually have a presentation per se. I was just going to talk. So
absolutely.
if
Even
that's
better.
okay, then yeah.
Even better. All yours. Floors all
Okay,
yours.
well, wonderful. So, well, thank you again for having me here. It's yeah, it's quite refreshing and it's fun because it takes me back to my college days and when I was at that crucial juncture of deciding what to do. Um, but so for those of your students who don't know about us, who don't know about the explorations company, so just to give you a brief background, the company was founded in 1989, so it's been more than 35 years. And since the beginning, we've always kind of focused on sustainability and regenerative travel. Now, it's obviously the concept has taken on in the recent years with all the changes happening around the world. It's becoming more and more important, more and more kind of relevant. Um, but it's not a new concept, and especially in the field of travel at sort of various levels, it's been practiced throughout. And for us, um, it's very important because we are in that privileged position where we work with people, our clients who are very, very well traveled, who are interested in traveling to learn, and who are really interested in traveling to connect with the people, with the destinations, and who celebrate, diversity more than anything else, be it in nature, be it in cultures. um, so for us, you know, being involved in sustainability and regenerative travel was crucial, because without, preserving the destinations, the cultures, the wildlife, we won't have tourism. Tourism is one of the only industries which is not extractive. I mean, it can be, and things are changing, especially in the field of luxury travel. But you know, generally speaking, it is and can certainly be used as a force for good. And I would even say that tourism, when done right, can have a bigger impact than traditional aid, because it creates employment, it keeps, the money within the communities, within the destinations, and it really establishes a legacy, between the visitors and the place, which kind of makes people preserve, where what they're seeing, what they're visiting. So for us, that has always been one of the pillars, one of the core pillars. And for me personally, um, I got into travel out of sheer love, for exploration. My dad, he's a conservation architect, so from a young age, conservation, has always been, a theme in our family. And when I was in high school, when I was in college, I used to sort of travel with him. So I was lucky to accompany him on a few of his expeditions, and we would go to remote places, looking at, ancient temples and palaces and remote villages, and it was always kind of considered from the angle of preserving, what was there. So for me, it was very much, a part of my DNA, and I sort of got on to that. I was bitten by the travel bug, and I kind of carried on, but it was never an option. I always wanted to do something that would, create a good impact, and uh, that's how I kind of got into travel and explorations. When I sort of found the company, when I decided to join, it was a very good fit. So yeah, that's basically a bit of the background. We specialize in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the polar region. So we operate across the world, but these are our core areas. The company started as a safari specialist, so Africa, is still one of our biggest destinations. And there, in terms of nature and wildlife, the ecosystem is extremely fragile, and there are so many, problems in terms of. I mean, Africa has done a lot; it's come a long way, but in terms of illegal poaching, mining, you have so many extractive industries across Africa, um, that if, you know, tourism wasn't there, you would not have the Africa that we have today. It is, I firmly believe that it is purely because of tourism and because of the local people's um, kind of interest in preserving what they have through travel and tourism. that the destination has survived and that the wildlife has survived. Otherwise, like many other places, you would really have big, issues related to mass extinction, loss of habitat, loss of community identity, I would say. And one of the perfect examples is, the orangutans, and how what's happening because of palm oil, plantations, across Borneo, across Indonesia. Um, and that is in itself a really good case study that, if there is incentive and if there is vision, then tourism can make such a positive impact. And you have that entire region of Borneo, you look at Indonesia and you look at Malaysia. And within Malaysia, you look at the Sabah, region, and you see how tourism has saved, the forests, how tourism has saved the species. And um, that is, the perfect example of regenerative travel. So I would say, from our perspective, we sort of deal with high and ultra high net worth individuals. So you could say that we are a typical luxury, tour operator. And you can't avoid the elephant in the room. I mean, long haul travel is, is damaging. You can't not have the bigger, carbon offset, bigger sort of carbon footprint associated with it. The moment you take a flight and fly 9, 10, 11 hours, you're creating a big footprint. You talk about yachting, you talk about private jets. All of that can be extremely polluting. But there are ways to mitigate, there are ways to kind of balance the impact, and that you do through making the right choices on the ground. So when you're traveling within the destinations, by connecting with the right sort of people, by traveling the right way. Of course, if you want to go and explore the Himalaya, not that many people would have time to do the whole thing, without flying. I mean, unless you don't work and you have 1 or 2 or 3 years, on hand, you can do that and do it in a very green way. But most of the people wouldn't have that sort of time. So you have to kind of, take a balanced approach. But what the fundamental difference is that there's so much greenwashing going on these days, and everybody talks about sustainability. But the main difference, the way I view it, is that sustainability is purely about doing less harm, and that's what everybody's trying to do. But it is incredibly important to shift the focus on regenerative travel. And in certain industries, it's simply not possible. In travel, it is. And when you focus on regenerative travel, the main difference is that you try to leave a destination in a better place than how it was found. So when you got to a destination, how it was, by the time you leave, you should have made some sort of a positive impact, that you are leaving it in a better place. So that's the core difference, and that's what we focus on. And there are so many ways. I mean, the for us, there are many organizations that kind of focus on simply philanthropy. And yes, it is great, it works. But it doesn't kind of, if there is, it depends on the network that you have. If you don't have transparency, and if you're not kind of spreading the support equally or fairly, then philanthropy in its pure, sense can have a very limited impact. So for us, when we talk about philanthropic travel, when we talk about regenerative travel, we try to focus on grassroots, organizations. And across our destinations, we work with more than 70 projects. And the idea is to really encourage deeply immersive, engagement between our clients and the regions they are visiting. And this is not approached from a financial point of view. So yes, we do support these organizations, and our clients do support these organizations, but it is not purely to donate money for the sake of it. It is more about creating that deep connection with the places you're visiting. And that also, our hope is that would inspire the future generation. So I'll share an interesting story of a client. We arranged a safari for a family. This was about 2 decades ago. And a lovely family. At that time, they had young kids. And they wanted to go on a safari. The kids were in school, and they wanted, like many of our clients, for the safari to be a deeply kind of educational experience for their kids. They in many cases, we all live in a bubble. We all, especially, I've heard of cases where kids think, eggs and milk come from supermarket. They have no idea how these things actually come, how they're produced. And so a lot of our clients, they do want their kids to know the ground realities. They do want their kids to actually appreciate how different cultures across the world, survive, what the global kind of issues are, how you can find solutions. So anyway, so we they came to us from this with this request that they wanted the safari to be fun, of course, but also a very meaningful and learning experience. So we planned a trip to a couple of countries. It was a lovely 2.5 week safari, and as part of that, they visited a very, very nice elephant conservation project. And we don't deal with organizations where it's the approach is commercial and touristy, where you just go and visit elephants and spend time with them and come out, and you just give some money or buy some food. We predominantly work with research organizations who are kind of either trying to rescue wildlife, or they are doing research. So we arranged a visit to this organization. They spent time with the researchers. They, in fact, went in the field, with the elephants, and they spent an entire day. And it was a very, very successful trip. And after the trip, we kind of obviously didn't know. We were hoping that it would make a good impact, but beyond that, we didn't really know how it would be perceived and how it would be kind of taken by the kids. 2 decades later, they're really good clients. We've remained in touch, but beyond that, obviously, we didn't engage with them at a very deeper level. So we didn't know what they were up to, what the kids were up to. They just got on with their lives, and they had some lovely trips with us eventually. But I think it was 3-4 months ago when we heard back from the family. And it was the mother simply writing to us to thank us for the impact that trip had made on one of their sons. Um, so much so that he went on to study wildlife conservation. And now he heads one of the largest elephant conservation trusts in the world. And the entire thing. I mean, the seed was that family trip that we had organized for them, and the kind of engagement they had with the researchers and seeing the issues that are faced and what all is being done. So that's just one example, and there are so many depending on where the clients are going, whether it's preserving ancient crafts or supporting children's education, women's, empowerment, nature conservation. We have many clients who have, supported sand dams, and so far we have with the help of our clients, of course, we've kind of directly and indirectly sponsored about more than 5 sand dams in Africa, and these completely transform the ecosystems and the communities, because without the sand dams, there are villages where people have to walk 10, 15, 20 miles just to get a bucket of water. And now with having access to the sand dams, the whole community changes completely. So those are the kind of projects that we focus on, and the idea is to really, once we get people to the destination, it is to really focus on the kind of travel that makes minimal impact on the destinations, whether it's taking it slowly rather than rushing from one place to the other, all the time. You kind of spend more time in places. You go off the beaten track. You avoid places that have been completely commoditized. I mean, we all know about the impact of social media and how it's changed tourism. We have seen protests, in Barcelona, in Portugal, in Kyoto. The governments are stepping in now to curb, mass tourism. So that's the flip side of the coin. But to avoid that, that's where the responsibility comes in. It's down to people like us to then find those places where people can have much more authentic, experiences, and to take people away from highly touristy places. And you know, again, if we take one of the recent examples of this, I don't know if any one of you are aware, but there is a high speed train link that has been established between Luang Prabang and China, and with that link, the influx of Chinese tourists has, I mean, it's increased multiple folds. And you go back. I mean, I first went to Laos. It was 15, 20 years ago, and you now go back to places like Vang Vieng and Vientiane, and you won't even realize, you won't recognize them. They look like Chengdu and Beijing with skyscrapers and everything. But and what has happened is that initially, when this train line was conceived, the whole you know hope was from the authorities that it would bring in more people and it would support the local establishments. It would really promote the right type of tourism. It would bring Laos, on the map, because it's despite its beauty, despite its richness, Laos hasn't benefited that much, from travel. It's Cambodia and Vietnam. It's remained in its shadow. Most people go to Vietnam, Cambodia, and come back. They don't carry on. And of course, Thailand is there, which is a huge destination. So this was one shot that they had to kind of put Laos on the map. And they did that. It obviously worked. Tons and tons of people are visiting now. But what they did not foresee is that it's kind of led to this micro economy, and anything and everything that is, well, most things, not literally 100%, but majority of the support system that is now in place to cater to the Chinese tourists is directly or indirectly owned by the Chinese. So it's not really putting any money back into the economy. It's not helping the locals. In fact, they are now, they now have this issue of dealing with huge numbers of tourists, which is having impact on the local infrastructure. It's having impact on the other type of travelers who are there to really appreciate, the kind of more off the beaten track side of Indochina. So that's again, it goes to show that if you don't really focus on sustainability, if you don't work with the right kind of people, if you're not aware of these issues, then it's very easy to fall into that rut. Everybody wants to go and see the Golden Triangle. Everybody wants to go and see Machu Picchu. But beyond that, what else is there? And how do you take people away from that highly commercialized and touristy bubble? So that is one of the core things that we focus on. And I mean, over, say, I would say since the 1989, when the company was started, I mean, over the years, we've donated huge amounts of money. I would say, yeah, last year when we did the audit, our impact was upwards of 5 million. And it's what was happening was that majority of it was done organically through client engagement. But now to increase our impact, what we have done since last year is that as part of our mission, we have now committed to donating more than at least 1% of our turnover. So not our revenue, so not our profit, but turnover. So that also is making a big impact. And this year, the causes that we are focusing on are, plastic waste in Bali. So that during the pandemic, it became a huge issue, and it became apparent that, all the canals, all the rivers, the water system, they were getting completely clogged because of the waste. So we partnered with a very good organization there, and we've installed barriers on the waterways to stop plastic waste, and then whatever is collected, it's then recycled. We are supporting an initiative in Africa where we are kind of providing solar stoves to villagers. So that is more on the side of nature conservation, because most of the villages, they burn wood to kind of cook, and they go out in the jungles, they chop trees, they chop the bushes, and they collect wood fire, and that's how they cook. And well, that generates pollution, and B, it also results in human animal conflict, because they are having to go into these places to collect wood fire. So we have we get solar stoves produced, and we distribute these. So far we've distributed, I think, more than 2,000 this year, which has a huge impact. And these stoves are also far more efficient. So it also, in terms of health, has made an impact on these people, because otherwise they are just inhaling, all those fumes. And I mean, Pooja, you would know, but in India we support the toy bank. So we sponsor one
Yes.
of their play centers, and Reality Gives. We are since 2019 we have consistently supported them, and
We had the toy bank. Also, we had video and speaking yesterday.
oh right, okay,
So the
okay, wonderful.
students already have a context to what you.
Good, yeah. No, so yes, across, I mean, there's a huge variety, and we have um, three core pillars that we as a company focus on: people, planet, and wildlife. And everything we do, all the projects we support, they kind of tie into one of these pillars. And for our direct CSR, we kind of pick 5 or 6 projects per year, and we donate money to them depending on their requirements. And rest of the support is all done through client engagement, so through the kind of journeys that we design. Um, so yeah, that's roughly, how we operate and what we focus on. Um, I would say in terms of you know in terms of the context of this talk, um, for those of you who are kind of figuring out, I don't think everybody would be associated with travel, because I think the focus is on sustainability management and it's a vast, field. But one thing I would say is that um, travel and tourism, despite its kind of importance. I mean, you take countries like Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Kenya, Botswana. Majority of their GDP is dependent on tourism. So it's a big sector, and uh, there are so many countries, including Switzerland, where tourism plays a huge role in keeping the economy going. But because it's not an organized sector like many other industries like pharma or mining or banking, people don't see the overall impact, and the governments don't see the overall impact. Otherwise, if you look at tourism, it's the largest, generator of foreign currency for any government. Huge, huge, hugely important. And but what because of that, what has happened is that in travel and tourism, we do have, and this is not just tourism, but across hospitality as well. We do have a situation where there is a shortage of well-trained professionals. A lot of the people working in the industry, especially on the ground in destinations, they are just local people who are there because there aren't that many other opportunities where they're based, and B, they just love dealing with people, and they love showing where they come from and where they live and what they do. And they don't have any professional background. They don't really understand about sustainability. They don't really understand about regeneration. And that's one of the core reasons why I would say tourism, more than any other industry, requires that investment. It desperately needs people who have the knowledge and who have the expertise to make a difference, because otherwise it'll remain marginalized, and otherwise it'll remain misunderstood more than anything else, because you know in most cases, people only look at big business, and people only equate tourism with companies like, and again, I'm not trying to be biased here. Of course, all the companies, all the business models, they are right or wrong in their own place. But as soon as things start to become commodity focused, and they start to get too big, then I think the negative impacts, you kind of they start to surface. So it's like big tech, it's like AI. It's now being compared with the tobacco industry. So for in the next 5, 10, 15 years, big tech will become as good or bad as tobacco, and that's going to be a problem for the future generations. And sadly for tourism, most people look at travel as a big polluter. Most people look at travel as a financial burden, an extractive industry, and that has happened because of big models like Airbnb and social media and Booking.com, where you have an unfair concentration of volume on certain regions. And that's where I think expertise comes in. That's where, you know, either you could be like myself in a field where you can have a direct, impact with customers and you can kind of guide them better, or you could be in a policy making, field where you work with governments, you work with organizations. Either you are kind of evaluating and analyzing impact, or you're trying to change the way the whole industry functions. And Bhutan is a perfect example of this. I mean, they were operating in a certain way which already was extremely eco-conscious, extremely sensitive pre-pandemic, but during the pandemic they took a massive hit. Um, and they just changed the model, and now they're looking at different ways to still remain committed to what they believe in, but to kind of increase the traveler numbers, and they're looking at coming up with they're looking at new projects, they're looking at new destinations. They've increased the levy that they charge on people to make sure that enough money is put back into the community. So yeah, policy making is one option, but otherwise, uh, you know, core travel and tourism or hospitality is another way where you work with commercial entities, but it's then down to you how you approach it and what sort of impact you make. Um, uh, Besides that, I mean, are there any questions so far for me from anyone?
No, I don't think so. Everything is very clear, was at least to me very clear.
I have a question, Chinmay.
Hmm.
So I was wondering, how as a travel company, as a travel designing company, how do you, or is there a mechanism that you can use to prevent commodification of culture, but particularly if you take the Indian context, um, even something as I would say sacred as the thayam is now being used as a commodity to sort of is a very sacred religious sort of ritual that happens in northern Kerala, but the way it's being promoted, it seems like it's a show,
Hmm.
so is there some mechanisms, or is there something that you can suggest to, from the point of view of, yes, we want to conserve culture, but we don't want to commodify it. Is there something that you can share in that?
That's a very good question, and it's a double-edged sword, because see, the problem is that unless you get people involved, and unless you get the required visibility for something, it's impossible to preserve it. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like food. You want to preserve Indian food. Now, let's say in India, the food is losing popularity. but you want to preserve the heritage, and you feel that the only way of doing it is to um, increase the awareness amongst international communities, and to really make others understand how rich the uh, food science is in India, and how diverse the palate is. Now, the best way is to get people to experience it. Now, if you present something in its raw form, um, you will have some who will, understand and appreciate. But in most cases, most of us, we, live in our own bubbles and we have our own limitations. So whether we like it or not, each and everything is highly subjective, and there's no way of preserving something without modifying it a bit, for
Yeah.
to make it a bit digestible
Yeah.
to those who are coming to kind of appreciate it. Now, like you said, there has to be a balanced approach here. In certain so when I'll come back to my example. So when you go to um, any Indian restaurant here in the UK or anywhere in Europe, I mean, would you ever have proper Indian food? No, you'll
No.
never have Indian food. But the awareness and appreciation of Indian food, have increased so much that people are getting inspired to actually go to India to,
True.
enjoy that authentic food.
True.
Um, if the taste was not changed, if it was not made palatable enough, you know
Then you
then
persuade them.
that
Yeah.
wouldn't happen.
Yeah. True.
So how to so this is a fine balance, and in certain cases it will commodification is not avoidable. It will happen. it, and there are all types of travelers, and those who kind of are not that sensitive, and who are more kind of focused on having you know who are kind of more price sensitive, who are more either short on time or short
Yeah.
on resources. They would still go for that because they want to experience it, whether it's commercial or not. They just want to dip their toe and understand. But how you can kind of stop it, or how you can improve the situation, is by at the same time by encouraging platforms and places where you can focus on true preservation. Now, I'll give you an example. So let's go to Bhutan, okay, or even India. You raised India. We look at Tayam, and we talk about that. Now, of course, you go to Kerala, and you have a week, and you are really it depends on each individual's priorities, but you have a week, you have limited resources, and you want to go to Kerala, and you just want to kind of experience all the various aspects of it. Then most people would go and stay in the typical touristy places, and they'll go and attend a show, and that's their experience. We per se would not be dealing with those kind of people, and we are not in that market.
Yeah.
The kind of travelers who come to us, they are interested in a deeper connection, and they really want to experience the most authentic thing. So what we would do is that we would take them at the right time to a village where at the local temple they can actually see the real performance, which is not stage for them, but it's actually a real
Happening.
performance
Yeah.
happening,
Happening right there. Yeah.
in the community. And
Absolutely.
then they are there with the guide who kind of acts as an interpreter,
The bridge
and
as well. Yeah.
and they understand the entire thing. Now, what needs to happen is that we need to talk more about these experiences. We need to increase the awareness. The authorities have to increase the awareness.
Yeah.
Um, and that's how you can promote, sustainability.
Yeah.
Um, but commodification is bound to happen
No, but
because.
I wanted to add something to this. For me, the worry about Thayam particularly is because it has always bothered me. I love Thayam. I've attended it several times in these villages. And I have several, interestingly enough, in my company in India, I have several um, designers who come from Kerala, particularly come from Northern Kerala. Somehow they're very good with design. And they've been working with me, and all my designers have been from that region. And there are young folks. And whenever they've
Mhm,
seen, because we work with travel companies, they've seen me telling them to use the Thayam for promotion and things like that. And I've often been asked by them, why are we talking about this? It's kind of very scary for us. We don't like it, you know? And what I worry about is that if this younger generation is not is not invested in this culture,
mhm.
then it's going to go away. If they're saying
Absolutely.
that, they're scared of it. I mean, I remember this graphics designer who came to me, 22-year-old boy, who said, I hate it. It's really scary. It gives me nightmares when I've seen it in my village. I don't like it.
Mm,
And I said, you have to be proud of it because this is something that's bringing a lot of economic development. And you need to be proud of this ritual because there's a significance to it,
mm,
particularly from the perspective that I think it's the lower caste that becomes the god for that day. So they are
mhm.
worshipped. So you're bridging also caste there. I mean, it's such a beautiful ritual. But
Yeah,
if the younger generation is not being proud of it, I worry that it will
no,
become
that's
just
very true.
staged. Yeah.
That's very true. And that we are seeing across, the globe. It's happening more and more, and it's happening because um, the it's more than, travel and tourism. I mean, it's to do with the societal shift. And it's all driven by economic pressures. Now, you definitely, the only way to address this is by educating those people, by educating those communities, and by enabling them to continue those traditions. Because unless they have an option to kind of make a living and be comfortable where they are, um, why would they be incentivized to preserve anything that they have? And one of the perfect examples is this remote community in Bhutan, where there's a particular type of dance that they perform. Now, in Bhutan, we see this huge exodus, which has kind of been amplified post COVID. The younger generation, they obviously want more money. The whole focus on gross national happiness and everything is there, but beyond that, I mean, we are seeing that more and more of younger, people, they are either moving to cities or they are even going abroad. They're going to Thailand, they're going to other parts of Asia, Europe, everywhere. And what happened in this particular community is that most of the people left behind are older, people, and they have no one to pass the art on to. I mean, it's a dying tradition. So what we do now is that we are trying to send more and more people there to create an opportunity for the community to preserve what they have. And if they see the incentive, then the younger folk, they are willing to continue. It's not that they're not interested. It's just that, you know, you still have to survive. You still have to make a living. And if you
Yeah.
don't have any opportunities, how do you do that?
Gonna go
So
away. Yeah.
what we do now is that we kind of talk to people. So we create awareness at our level amongst our clients, and we take more and more people to that community. And the performance is of course staged for the people. So when our clients go, the performance is staged for them, but it has not been commercialized. So you can't say that it's at the same level as these shows that run in big cities, or even, I mean, you we have seen commodification of the festivals in Bhutan. I mean, you go to
Oh,
the
yes.
biggest festivals, they're
Kathakali also.
Kathakali.
Kathakali is
Yeah,
the biggest
exactly, same.
example.
Yeah, yeah,
You see
exactly.
Kerala, you see Kathakali. That's
Exactly. But
uh,
but imagine that you find a small village where you have, let's say, a craft tradition. The younger people are not able to find buyers, because obviously the sensitivity is reducing. Affordability, people, their priorities have changed. So they are being forced out of that family tradition. And if you are able to create opportunities for them, then they would obviously preserve what they've got. So I think that is the key. And our clients who have gone, so every time when they go, we set up a private camp, in the village. It's a comfortable camp, but it's nothing like a hotel. But even, it's all about really educating people, managing expectations, getting them invested. Because once people understand the value, uh, they are willing to compromise on creature comforts.
yeah.
So the key is to really focus when you talk about luxury travel. I mean, you can look at hardware, which is what many people look at, but then for us, luxury is more about access, space, time, and those are the real values. And I think that's what I was kind of alluding to, that when I went, that we need people who are well educated, who are committed to join the field, because you have to have a certain ability to be able to convince people to go somewhere that they'd not thought of, to go somewhere that they were not actually in their minds interested in. Um,
Absolutely.
but whoever has been, so we set up a camp, we take them there, the whole village, for them, it's like their annual festival. So, and the people, the guests join in, and they love it. They absolutely love it. The villagers love it, because for them, they are getting to preserve something that in their minds they're losing. And
Yeah.
and um, I think the core is that, and this is what for me travel is all about. It's about celebrating diversity, because once we lose that, uh, I think the whole world will become monopolaristic, singular,
And there's
and
nothing else to
and
sell
yeah, I mean, what will you
for
go
yourself.
somewhere
Yeah.
for? I mean,
Yeah.
there's no change anywhere. There's no diversity. We'll lose our identity as
Yeah.
a, as
I
as
wanted to add to what you were saying. It could be also interesting, and I don't know if you do this at Explorations, Chinmay. It would be interesting if in your select group of high net worth individuals who travel, that you identify those that maybe have businesses in, I don't know, interiors, or, there could be. And that could be a good match, that they travel there and they're investing in this craft, because you bring that back with a story. That's a great sell for any
yeah.
European American market.
No, absolutely. So we don't actively do that because again, that would kind of be a conflict of interest, and we like to keep, it's up to the client. So obviously, if they want to pursue it, then they can, but we wouldn't approach it from that angle. But what we have done is, for example, in Japan. Now, people don't look at Japan as a destination where there's any need for sustainability or regeneration or philanthropy because it's a first world country,
Yeah,
and it's so wealthy, and I mean it's one of the best models that you have in the world. But what's happening there is the whole you know trend where all the younger people are moving to Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka for white collar jobs, and their traditional crafts are dying. So we work with a foundation who do exactly what you mentioned. They bridge the gap. So what they do is that they whatever money they generate, they use it to arrange workshops and apprenticeships with big designers and professionals from the western markets. So they go and spend time with the Japanese artisans to get them to understand how they can make their products more relevant to the current market.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
so that is how they are then getting to preserve their tradition, because you maybe you've been building a wooden box for centuries, but if there's no use for it now other than ornamental, then you won't have any market left for it. But what these professionals do is to understand the craft, understand the concept, but maybe reframe it and give it a new life. And that's what we do in Japan, and it's done through pottery, it's done through textiles.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
So
really good to know. I did not know. That's why I asked you, because it was just always an idea in my head that tourism can be a bridge even between other industries,
oh,
not
completely,
only, yeah,
completely. And but this is what the whole issue is, that because it's just a bridge. People mainly focus on the other industries and the other fields, and they forget about the bridge. So they don't kind of give the
so
the importance, that it
yeah,
deserves.
the due. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, so well, I hope you found this helpful.
very.
And yeah, if there are any other questions, then do let me know. But otherwise, this was great fun, and thank you for having me
Yeah,
here.
you're quite the speaker. Thank you. I mean, this is so
Oh,
engaging. You went from one topic to another. You just immersed us. And
unstructured.
yeah, but unstructured story. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's
Students, do
kind
you
of
have
you.
any questions for Chinmay? Anyone, anything specific you want to know? Yes, Archie.
Oh yeah, sorry. Was someone else going to speak?
Sorry?
Or I think I heard someone else speaking before me. They can go first if they'd like. But if not,
Yeah,
I can
go
go.
ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
Archie.
so
You can go ahead. It's fine.
yeah, well, I it was more in reference to the charity work I think you said you were doing. It was very impressive. Well, what unit of currency was that in? The 5 million US dollars, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really a question. It's more just an acknowledgement. That's very impressive. That's very cool.
Uh,
Is that in total or over 1 year, for example, or
no, no,
No,
no.
no.
In total, so
in total?
Over
in
the
total.
lifetime.
So since last year, like I said, we have changed, our model, and we have decided to bring in it as part of our core CSR activity. So now, since last year, our involvement is more direct. But until last year, we were doing it solely through client contribution, and what the model was that for each and every trip that we arrange, we would add a small per traveler levy, in our costing, which we would then match. So let's say for each traveler, we were, charging 200, 250, 300, whatever, pounds or dollars as part of the trip cost, and we would then match it. And that was being donated to projects that the clients were visiting, or projects that were in the countries that the clients were engaging with. But that was being done, since the company was founded. But obviously, the scale was smaller, and that would not take into consideration any donations that the clients would choose to make directly, because obviously that's between the clients and the organization. So that we would not be a part of that. This was simply what we were doing from our side. But last year we thought that more had to be done, and there was the opportunity um, of expanding our reach beyond our core destinations. So we kind of included that in our mission, and now, yeah, minimum 1% of our turnover, we've started to donate directly as our CSR. So that is still over and above what the clients would do on their own.
I think it's just sorry if it's loud. I'm currently outside, but I think it's a testament to your company, to your business. I think it's a very good
Oh,
sign.
thank you. Oh, that's very kind. Thank
That
you.
was all. Thank you for sharing.
Marilu, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I found it very interesting what you mentioned about also sending people in the local communities to pursue with their tradition. And I wanted to know in which kind of initiatives you're fostering this. I guess it's different from one to another, but is it kind of natural because people in these communities see more and more travelers, customers from your company, or do you also act more locally and with more initiatives from your side?
No, so in terms of communities, it depends on the destinations where the clients are going. So we don't um, so our approach to travel is completely bespoke. So we don't pick projects and kind of divert everybody towards those, because then the nature of travel would change. We don't decide for clients where they should go and what they should do. We kind of listen to them. We understand what they want to do, what their key drivers are, and then we make recommendations. So,
Mhm.
but within those parameters, yes, if things align, then we work with communities. So either we work with communities directly, or we work through our the projects that we engage with. So like I said, we have an extensive network of DMC partners in each and every country. And we also work with organizations, so 70 odd projects across the globe. So and the whole idea is to really eh, go and spend time with these communities, educate them, make them understand what the travelers are looking for when they come,
Mhm.
and how best they can showcase their culture and their heritage. And it's a two-way process. So not just about us, but there is another very good there are many such travel companies, and I've already talked about what we do, but I'll give you an example of another company. They only focus on Mongolia, for example. They don't do anything else. And right from the beginning, the founders' goal was to really help the Mongolian communities, the rural communities. So the entire reason why she started the company was to help the locals. So everything that she does is um, completely focused on going and spending time with these communities. And she has worked for years with these people to get them to understand what the travelers would be looking for, and how best they can um, you know elevate their experience and also at the same time preserve what they've got and highlight what they've got. And it's a learning experience on both the sides. So that's another angle that where you kind of zoom in on certain places and direct everyone that you have in terms of clients towards those places.
Mhm.
Or it could be like us, where we remain completely bespoke on the client side. And
Mhm.
then wherever the clients want to go, in some cases, we are doing journeys that are completely pioneering. So we have no kind of contacts, but still, our core focus on sustainability and regeneration remains. So even if we are going somewhere totally new, we would still want to go down a couple of layers to find out how we can make it more immersive and how we can make it more beneficial. So it's just about putting the work in. Yeah. And it's just about having access to the right people.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chinmay. Thank you so much for joining in. It was really insightful. And I think all our students found it very interesting to learn about how you plan travel, because typically we look at travel very differently when we talk about tourism. But I think Explorations has always done it differently, particularly because of your clientele, the HNI.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, definitely that plays an important role in our ability to do what we do. Because, like I said, it is many times, completely down to, you know, everyone's priorities. So but then having said that, I mean, look, I'll, if you look at the whole industry in general, and if you look at typical packaged, travel,
Yeah.
what we do is not, I mean, it is termed as packaged travel, but it's completely bespoke. But then there are companies like what you mentioned, where you see fixed programs and you just buy
Group
those
tours.
programs, group
Yeah.
tours, or even private journeys, but you're kind of buying something off a brochure or off a
Yeah.
website. It's not built for you.
Yeah.
So, but then there are many ways where companies are trying to make a difference. I mean, you look at Intrepid or you
Oh,
look at
yes.
Explore, they still go and tick
Yeah.
all the boxes, go and visit all the iconic places, but they
You
are
also think. Yeah.
still trying to do the right thing by taking people slightly more off the beaten track, by engaging with maybe one or two projects, and
Yeah.
they direct everything towards those, but you're still making a difference. So
Absolutely.
at whatever level, I think as long as you know the vision is there, the interest is there, you can make a difference no matter what the budget is, no matter what resources you've got. But
Absolutely.
um, I think yeah, the biggest problem we have is where the whole franchisee model kicks in, and with the likes of Airbnb, Booking.com, where the only driver is profitability and
Yeah.
nothing else, then it becomes an issue.
Well, one last question. Since you have now started reinvesting 1% of your turnover, that automatically qualifies you to become a B Corp. Would you be, because I do know you have American clients, would you be interested to actually be a B Corp?
We are evaluating that, because that's not see, for us, it's not something that we shout about. It's something that's in our DNA. We've been doing this for over 30 years. And whether we are B Corp or not, I don't think it'll change anything with our clients and the way they view us.
Yeah.
Um, so in many cases, you know, B Corp works if it's it gives you leverage.
True.
but
Also new client acquisition, even
yeah,
for
but we are evaluating. I'm not entirely convinced that that's the right way for us to go. I think that that money can be spent,
for
elsewhere, with
making more impact.
where
Yeah.
yeah, where the
Sure.
impact is much greater than just marketing and leverage. Um, but I'll give you an example. I mean, B Corp is brilliant, and more companies are becoming B Corp, and it's very good. But um, I'm just uh, slightly skeptical when MNCs start to get such recognitions, because as soon as you are a big MNC and you have franchisees, you don't have control.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
then
Yeah.
if the parent company has B Corp recognition, the franchisees obviously would be seen as B
Benefit
Corp,
to.
but
Yeah.
then they don't
They're
have
not.
to, no, they're
Yep.
not. So then is it as effective? I mean, are we doing it simply for marketing leverage or to actually do the good work?
They've actually changed it as of this year. They
Okay.
have completely reevaluated the way they roll out their certification. I think they've taken some time to reflect on how they've been giving it out.
Hmm.
And particularly because I think there were some companies that were really doing well that pulled out of being B Corp, that said, we don't want to be a B Corp anymore because you're not good enough
Yeah,
for us. That was a
correct.
wake up for
Absolutely.
them,
Yeah.
and they have reevaluated. And the last I heard is that they're continuing to reevaluate, and they want to make it stricter, especially for the big companies. The example that you gave is very relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah,
No, but yeah, yeah.
I
We,
can actually speak on this, if you don't mind, for sure. Can
Yeah,
I?
yeah, Archie, go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
I mean, with the company I was working with over the summer, part of my role was helping them to reapply for the new B Corp standards. And yeah, they're so much stricter. They're significantly more stricter. It's like they're swapping from a point-based system where you only had to get sort of 80% of the points. I can't remember the precise number to now. There are standards, either you meet them or you don't. So it's
okay.
and they're a lot
No, that's good to
stricter.
know.
Before they were quite general. Now it sort of goes three, four different levels into one topic. It's
Absolutely.
yeah,
And
it's really it's
they
doing very
also
nice.
verify. They will also verify rather than just giving it out to you. So they will physically verify everything that you're claiming in your questionnaire. So excellent. Thank you so much, Chinmay. It was really wonderful catching up with you, and I think for all our students. I thank you, students, for your questions and your attention. And I hope we can welcome you back again at a later time, Chinmay.
Sure. Thank you. It'd be a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank,
Take care.
Thank you
bye.
very much.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye. Bye.